It's finally happening. 6 movies in and I'm regenerating. What? Which incarnation have I regenerated into? George Lazenby? Fucking hell. Where were you, Sean Connery? Well, my first non-Sean Connery James Bond review. Shame it had to be this one. On Her Majesty's Secret Service, on Her Majesty's Sucky Service, directed by Peter R. Hunt, and is the 6th instalment of the James Bond franchise, as well as the first and thank God only George Lazenby Bond movie overall. So, On Her Majesty's Sucky Service tells the story, oh boy, it's not going to end well. If you've seen the movie, you know what I mean. Taking place after the events of You Only Live Twice, where James Bond, not played by Sean Connery this time, sad face, but by George Lazenby instead, as James Bond is similar to the Doctor from Doctor Who. He can change his face, and Bond, while facing off against Blofeld in the snowy mountain regions, falls in love with the daughter of a crime lord, Tracy, played by Diana Rigg, until the shitty ending of the movie happens and it all goes to shit. With a franchise as vast as 25 movies, it's inevitable that some installments are going to receive rants. I am super happy that On Her Majesty's Secret Service is regarded as a Bond classic among the Bond community, but if I was to be the elephant in the room, I would say that this is the first Bond movie that I hated. On Her Majesty's Secret Service, in my personal opinion, sucks. But don't worry, this is not going to be the most explosive rant on my channel. As On Her Majesty's Secret Service, it would have been just a mediocre movie at best, if only Sean Connery was James Bond, and if only the ending was executed better and happier. And I would take a mediocre Bond movie over a shitty one any day. I do feel bad for resorting to ranting on George Lazenby's only movie in the franchise. He's the shortest serving James Bond period, with just one movie. But I have no idea why the heck Sean Connery couldn't have just starred in this one. So this movie immediately has the disadvantage of not having Sean Connery to play our protagonist, and George Lazenby as James Bond, while I wouldn't go as far as calling him the worst, but he would be my second least favourite. He is just here to be the Sean Connery replacement, and we just see him this one time. I mean, to rank the George Lazenby era is the hardest ranking to ever do, to just rank one installment. And this movie doesn't feel canon as a result of George Lazenby never returning to the franchise after this one. In fact, I don't consider On Her Majesty's Sucky Service canon whatsoever. To me, this is just a unofficial fan fiction Bond movie that I don't ever need to go back to. Sure, this movie does have a fresh location for the series in the in the snowy mountains. That's all a breathtaking stuff, and the ski action sequences, I'm sorry, they are ridiculous. And we're supposed to be watching an action scene here, not the freaking Winter Olympics. Yeah, that's what all the fight scenes that take place out in the mountains feel like. Just a parody of the Winter Olympics. And Louis Armstrong's theme song, "We have all the time in the world." Now, Louis Armstrong was a wonderfully talented musician, but this theme song may be his blandest song that he ever wrote. And Louis Armstrong could have written a landmark Bond theme had he put in the extra time and effort into this song. And the title sequence is literally just the Union Jack flag and some Bond girls up against a blue background with zooming in and out images. It feels so tacky, like they had no idea. They had no vision for this title sequence, so they just slapped a bunch of images on screen and they said, that's the title sequence. Even Blofeld in this movie was an epic failure, an even weaker Blofeld than the Blofeld in You Only Live Twice. But Diana Riggs Tracy would be the one thing that nearly saves this movie. Tracy rocks, as she is seriously sympathetic at being the daughter of a crime lord. She's nearly exactly identical to Bond, and she doesn't take shit, and so you can see why that's a Bond can't stop thinking about her, and their love story starts out like it could be the greatest romance in James Bond history. You would think, if the ending was more sunshine and rainbows, which it should have been, but no. This ending does the unforgivable and the unthinkable by killing off Tracy after her and Bond's wedding. Please tell me in the comments section if you can, how is this ending good? Fucking how? I mean, and I don't think Bond and Tracy should have married, personally. I mean, it's just the sixth movie in a James Bond storyline. It's all too soon, too sudden. Like, I'm okay with Bond marrying Madeline in this year's movie, No Time to Die, because that's the 25th installment. Well, by movie 25, we would have thought, well, Bond has earned the right to live a more peaceful life with the woman he loves by then. He can marry by then. That's okay, but not just 6 movies in. This is the fucking disgraceful ending of Amazing Spider-Man 2 all over again. This would be my least favourite ending in the entire James Bond franchise. You just destroyed what could have been a blossoming love story that could have led to something special, but it leads to nothing, and And this ending destroyed the George Lazenby era beyond repair, to the point where I was I'm thankful that he never got to do another Bond movie. I just wanted him to regenerate back into Sean Connery. In fact, this ending would make the very top of my Dick to the Bond girls list. Whenever this ending happens in the movie, I'm like, fuck this shit, I'm out. Endings where the protagonist lover is killed off and then the protagonist is grieving over them, and the plot then is forcing them to get over their lover and move on. That is the laziest form of conflict, or at least one of them. So yeah, on Her Majesty's sucky service, a general consensus may hail this as a top tier Bond movie, but for my taste, it's one of the worst. And the George Lazenby era altogether fails. It's still a far more watchable Bond movie than the shitty Pierce Brosnan era, but that's not saying it's good.
I give On Her Majesty's sucky service 1 star out of 5. Fuck this movie.
Thankfully, we would never see a George Lazenby Bond movie again after this. So, well, I love you guys. Thank you for watching. I hope you guys enjoyed this rant. And what are your thoughts on Her Majesty's Secret Service? I'm sure your reactions will be heaps more positive than mine. Please comment and let me know. Please like this video and subscribe. Please follow me on Twitter and on Instagram, and I'll see you all next time when I review Sean Connery's sixth and final movie as James Bond, Diamonds Are Forever. And remember, movies are us. Bye, guys.